Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of Cavletics, an inside look into the athletics department here at Bossier Parish Community College. I'm your host, Charlie Cavell. Well, you asked for it, so we're delivering it. Backed by popular demand, once again, we are visiting with the dynamic, the lovely, the talented BPCC Lady Cavaliers basketball coach, Brenda Nichols. Coach, thanks for joining us again today. It's good to have you back.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Well, on our last episode, we mostly focused on you and how you became the women's basketball coach here at BPCC. Like the Sonny and Cher hit, I got you, babe. And it's all about you and your Lady Cavs today on Cavletics, the 2018-2019 Lady Cavaliers. You returned 5 players from last year's team that went 10-21, but did make it into the postseason as they participated in the Region 14 tournament. 4 of those 5 players saw significant playing time last year. Only guard Alex Williams from Loyola College Prep, the lone returnee who didn't see any action. Alex was hurt and sat out most of the year with an injury. However, this isn't a group of players that you recruited. And normally, when there is a transition period, when a new coach comes in, there is that period of getting to know each other.
Right.
How has this group of sophomores adapted to you and the way you run your program?
Well, I think they've done a really good job. When I came in, John told me that I have the full reins if I wanted to dismiss them or keep them. And I told him, no, we're going to keep everybody that's been on the squad, and we're going to bond and come along as a team. And I mean, we're one big pot of gumbo around here. So, I mean, we have them from everywhere and different types of players and what they bring to the table. But these 5, they're really special. We've bonded very well, and they're like my kids. I feel like I've recruited them.
Well, in a 2-year program, your sophomores are your veteran players. Yes. And often they're looked upon to provide leadership and be the leaders of that group. Is this group providing that leadership at the level that you expect from them? Right.
Well, being at a 4-year school, you always have juniors and seniors, so you never really look at your freshmen and sophomores to ever be a leader. And these sophomores are trained to learn to be a leader. And when they move on, they're going to have that struggle of, hey, I was a leader on this junior college team, but now there's leaders already in place as juniors and seniors. So they're learning right now, and we're trying to teach them that you have to step up, you have to show, by example. You have to lead by example, but you also have to communicate. And I think the biggest thing with our team is when we communicate, we're really good.
And, well, that kind of leads me into my next question about what are some of those areas that they need to improve on. You talked about communication. I'm assuming that means both on and off the court.
Yes. I believe that being a good leader is somebody that's got to be able to talk to people, that's got to be able to pull them in. There's a way you can lead by example, by doing the right things, but you have to be able to communicate, and you have to be able to get them to go along with you and not buy into anything, because we're not putting out the money or anything. You got to believe in what we're doing, and I think these 5 sophomores, they believe in what we're trying to do as a staff with Morgan and I to build this program and move forward.
And also from their standpoint, they got to understand that you're trying to help them get to the next level. Right. It's not like at a 4-year school necessarily. At a 2-year school, you're trying to get your players to the next level.
Right, and that's something we talk about every day. When something happens and we hit a wall, I'm like, this is something to get to the next level. This is what you need to be doing. And they're being groomed every day in how they act, how they walk into my office, how they go down the hall, how they go to class. I'm grooming them every day into how to be that Division I player or the Division II, or just move on to the next level. And I think that's real important that they learn that. When the ball goes flat, you gotta have something to produce. And we teach a lot about life.
You returned just 1 starter off of last year's team, and that's guard Monette Bolden. Monette, who is from Erath, Louisiana. Mo, as she's affectionately known, averaged 15 points, 4 rebounds, and 3 assists last year for the Lady Cavs. She mostly played the point position last year. And on our last episode, you mentioned her possibly moving to the 2 guard. in an effort to try to better utilize her abilities to score the basketball. Can you expound on that a little bit more?
Yeah, I think, anytime that you're a point guard, I mean, in your mind, you have to be the extension of the head coach. You got to bring the ball down. You got to make sure everybody's in the right place. You got all this stuff that's in your head that you got to remember to do. Got to watch the clock. You are the little general in the court. Not saying that Mo's not a good one. I think Mo does a very good job of that. But Mo is so talented at off the dribble, getting to the basket, making them layups. She's got a great pull-up jumper, and she's got a three-point shot. I think limiting her in what she has to think and do and put her in that 2 position I think it's going to expand her game. Make her a combo guard where she's going to bring the ball up some for us. She's going to have to play point at times, but she don't have to think now. She gets to react and play the game that she knows how to play. And actually, I really think that she's just going to be on fire. I mean, it's going to elevate her game.
Well, you talked about some of her attributes there. What are some of the areas that she may need to improve upon?
I think confidence. I think that's the biggest thing. When if she misses a layup or she doesn't do something right, she's a pleaser. She wants to please you. She wants to make sure she's doing everything right for you. And so that is just the confidence of, hey, you made a mistake. Let's get a positive. Let's get the next 2 points, 3 points, or get that steal.
You've been a coach at all levels, including the NCAA Division I level. What, in your opinion or your estimation, is Mo's ceiling?
She can go Division I. She will make a great guard on the next level, mid-major, maybe a little above that, and I think that she's going to do a great job. She goes to class. She does the right things. She's a leader that's going to lead by example, and this is where I'm trying to get her to. Now you got to communicate. Now you got to talk. You got to be that leader that's going to be verbal.
Last time you spoke highly of guard Warrior Henderson, who is from Auckland, New Zealand. Warrior was recruited based on her ability to shoot the basketball, particularly the 3. Last year she struggled with consistency, hitting just 28% of her shots and just 29% from beyond the arc. How do you get Warrior to improve on her consistency and become that long ball threat that she was recruited to be?
I think confidence. Again, with her, it's if I believe in her, she's going to believe in me, and we're gonna do this together. We're building a partnership. We're building that you can go out there, and I don't mind you taking that shot, and I'm not going to get mad at you, but you better score it. She's coming in the gym. She's getting the extra shots done. She's doing a really good job of putting the work in. And I think the more they put the extra work in, the better they're going to be in the game. I think she is a great practice player. I mean, she strokes it. She does a great job. Now she's got to have that same confidence in the games.
Let me ask you this. She is from New Zealand. Oftentimes it takes European players a period of transition, although Warrior has been in the States for a while. But it still takes him a transition period to go from European basketball, which is more of a finesse game, to not only junior college ball, but junior college in Region 14, where it's very physical.
Right. I think she has it. I think she's adjusted. That she did that last year. I think this year is her come-out year. I think she's very hard-nosed. She's going to get in there. She's got that true grit kind of attitude. She's going to board for you. She's going to get physical for you. We just got to get her confidence level on the offensive end.
Forward Deanna Perry from Rowlett, Texas, was another player you said had a really good offseason, made a lot of strides. Deanna saw limited action in all 31 games last year, and despite her limited minutes, she managed to haul down triple-digit rebounds, 101 to be exact. Is she a Dennis Rodman-like player in the sense that she's going to give you some garbage points, but if there's a rebound out there, she's going to go get it for you?
I think she is one of the kids that have really, out of the sophomore group, really developed and has come a long way. She's developing some skills that she didn't have. In her mind, she'd love to be a 3-player, but right now she's not that. But she could be that slasher that can, from the short corner, ball fake, go hard up to the basket. She's got a great looking body, and she can grab them rebounds. And I think her offensive game has really come a long way, and she has gotten better, and she works hard. When you look at her, you think, oh my God, she's mad at the world. But she's not. She's probably the hardest on herself than anybody. But that is just her serious gaming look, and that gaming look is probably throughout the whole day. I love the way you Dennis Rodman, I just hope she don't come out with red hair or something, But that's not that type of kid. But
right.
She is really developed into that great 3-4 slasher that can get to the basket. She has some ball handling, but she's strong. She can really do some work inside.
You spoke about Catherine Reeves, the pride of Saline, Louisiana, as being a gnat defensively. What makes Cat such an effective defender?
She loves the defensive end. I mean, now she's made some threes in practice for me, and I'm almost like cringing, like going, where did that come from? But when she gets on the defensive end, she just loves to get that ball, and she is a gnat at the campfire. I'm telling you, you hate those. But I love to watch her play defense, and like I said, when you put her, Cass, Lauren Walker, there's about 3 or 4 of them that you don't want to go up against, and they cause havoc on our team.
Do you have to pick and choose when to put Kat into the game, knowing that she's a defensive specialist and not as big an offensive threat?
I think so, but, Kat has really worked hard on her offense, and Kat can knock down that 3 now, and Kat's learning how to, to move the ball around. I think right now, Kat's developing where I don't have to hide her because she can get the job done, and she's doing what she needs to do.
Well, and before we take a break, let's talk briefly about Alex Williams. We didn't get to see Alex play.
Right.
Some people may remember Alex from her days at Loyola as a Flyer. But tell us a little bit about Alex. She's the only other returnee that we didn't.
I love Alex. She could bring the ball down at the point guard position, and she makes post moves for being like a little package of dynamite. She makes amazing drop steps and up and unders, and she's strong, and she's very, you don't think she's going to do that stuff. But she's got a lot to bring to the table. I think confidence is the biggest thing because she was out for so long that now she has to build that confidence of, I can do whatever coach. She's that kid that, where does Alex play? Wherever coach puts her. And that's good to have. She would be a utility player.
She's that Swiss Army knife.
She's the Swiss Army knife.
We're going to take a brief time out right now, but stay tuned because following the break, we'll have more with Lady Cavaliers basketball coach Brenda Nichols. You don't want to go anywhere. We'll be right back.
A promise was made. A promise that hit the beaches of Normandy. A covenant that split the skies over Berlin. A vow that captured Iwo Jima. A promise was made. A solemn oath that liberated Seoul. A sacred trust that defended Quezon. A pact that dug in Da Nang. A contract that weathered Tet. A promise was made. A pledge that stormed the desert in Iraq. A bond that patrolled door to door in Fallujah. An IOU that braved IEDs in Kandahar. A promise was made to America's veterans, a promise we all must keep. DAV fights for all veterans and their families so they get the health care, financial benefits, and support they earned. If you're a veteran who needs help or you'd like to help us keep the promise, visit DAV.org.
Welcome back to Cavletics. I'm Charlie Cavell. We're visiting with BPCC women's basketball coach Brenda Nichols. Coach, before the break, we were talking about the 5 returning sophomores from last year's team. Before we talk about the newcomers, Coach, I want to ask you about building a program and your style of coaching. If you had to use one term to describe a Brenda Nichols coached basketball team, what would it be?
Family. I think if you love your kids, and I tell them all the time, I'm going to love you if you're guarding the water cooler. I'm going to love you if I'm running you. I'm going to love you if you're playing good. I'm going to love you if you're playing bad. And I think if they see that I'm that person every day, that I'm going to come in, I'm going to hug you, and I'm going to be there for you. I'm going to get after you, because what happens at home, it's tough love. When we're on our kids, our own personal kids, it's tough love. So I think I treat them like they're my kids, and I think that plays over. They respect that, and they know that I'm just trying to be their mom, but at the same time, I'm not going to play. I'm going to do what I need to do to get you better.
I know this is kind of a difficult question, but being a mom yourself and being obviously a woman, when you go in to recruit a young lady to play for you, do you think that gives you maybe a slight advantage over, let's say, your male counterparts when you walk into the home of a young lady that you want to play for you, that you can relate to their mothers?
I think so. I think it's a good thing, and I'm a family person. I have kids, and even though my own personal kids, Brock tells me all the time, "Mom, can you just be mom and not coach anymore?" At the end of a football game or in the games, I'm like, "You need to be doing this, this, and this." And my kids are always saying, "Mom, you're not coach. Can you just be mom and just love us and not always coach us?" These kids, every day when I walk in that home or when I talk to these parents, I'm being real. You're getting who you're getting. I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to put on a show. You're getting Brenda Nichols. This is who I am, what I am, and I think the kids see that I'm real, and I think they respond to that, and I think the parents do too. And being a mother, I mean, I've had a son recruited by guys. And I sat in those meetings thinking, oh my God, let me get the trash can, So it's a big difference. I really do think.
If you had your preference with the players that you recruited, what style of basketball, what style of play would you prefer?
Well, I really like up-tempo. A lot of times you get players and you think they're going to fit your style, and then they just don't mesh. I think the kids that we recruited in and the kids that we have returning really have caught on to what we want. I think you're going to see a lot of up-tempo. You're going to see some trapping. You're going to see some fast breaks. We are going to slow it down some. But I think you have to take each player and see what they can fit into your system, and you got to mold your system around those players at the same time.
In all sports, many coaches set goals for themselves and as well as their teams, and often they'll have either a list or a chart or a whiteboard where they have kind of the magnets and things up in locker rooms and make a big deal when their teams achieve those goals.
Right.
Are you a coach who sets goals not just for yourself in your team, or do you use some other method maybe of motivation?
I think we all set goals. My goal, if you ask me, my number one goal for my team is to graduate our young ladies. I mean, I think that is a huge goal. In today's world, these young ladies need to have a degree. They need to be able to take care of themselves and not depend on anybody. And that's just my philosophy for them when I talk to them. I think the next goal is to be very successful in anything they do, to compete, to challenge, to never back down. I think in the world, and we're still in the world of man and woman, and sometimes the men kind of overshadow the woman, but I think behind every great man, there's a woman that's pushing him also. But I really want to teach our players to step out of the box and to be as successful and do whatever they want to do, and they can do it.
Joining your 5 returning players are 12 newcomers that you brought in. And so tell us about some of the players. We don't have to go through everybody,
right,
but touch on some of the players that you think will have the greatest impact on this 2018-2019 ball club.
Well, I still believe that this team is not a team that is going to have outstanding players that are going to score 33 or 44 points a game. I think this team can only be successful if we play as a team. We don't have the outstanding numbers and all that. And you talked about goals. I think a lot of the goals that I like to achieve are the goals that aren't in the record books. That who's going to get the deflection and who's going to get, that on the floor hustle play. I think those are what's going to win you ball games. And that's what we're trying to teach our players is it's not about the record book. You know, because 10 years from now, when we win the conference championship, they could tell them they were the starter and it wouldn't matter because who's going to know, you know? So I really think that it's the goals that no one sees. And that's what I'm trying to teach this team. I think Shay Richardson out of Willis, Texas, I mean, that is a kid, I mean, phenomenal story. She sat out of a year in her high school career. She ended up pregnant. She has a 1.5-year-old little baby. Her parents, I sat down with them and they agreed to raise the baby while she's here. It was tough for her to leave the baby. You know, her coach is a good friend of mine, played Division I basketball, and we've known each other a long time. And she said, Coach, this kid can play. You need to come look at her. And right after I got the job, I drove back down to Willis, went and looked at her and just fell in love with her. She is just dynamite. And she sat out a year. This kid is just now coming into her game. And I talked about her a little bit. She has a beeper on the ball. I'm telling you, there is a beacon, you know, like you go out in the sea and there's a beacon for the big fish. Well, this kid has a beacon for the ball. If there's a ball to be rebounded, she's going to get it. She fights with her own team over the ball. And she finishes well. When she first came on board, it was a struggle. And she had a lot of adversity she had to overcome. And I really have a lot of respect for her. I mean, to have a baby, to come away from the baby, and, you know, mom's raising it at home for her, but she sees the big picture. Every day we talk about the big picture, and she would tell you, what does Coach tell you? The big picture is to get the degree, have a career that you can make her proud of you. So when you walk across that stage, she wants to do the same thing. And I think that's what we're teaching these kids. I told you, we're not going to heaven for our wins and losses. We're going to heaven for what we can get these kids further and what they can learn.
Any other?
I have a bunch.
Let me ask you this. Instead of maybe going through everybody, how do you foresee your rotations? I mean, are you one of those that substitutes 5 and bring in a new 5? I mean, how do you run in? I mean, you have a lot of players.
17.
17 players on the roster. There's one basketball.
Right. You know, when we went over to Frisco, you know, we started off and I was just subbing. By the end, we were platooning. I've never really been a big platoon team, but we really have some kids that work well together with the other kids. And I think that's something that we're going to look at. You might see 3 kids come in or 4 kids come in and 1 kid stays. And you're going to see a rotation kind of like that with this group because we are so young. I mean, when you think about it, I have 17 kids, 1 with a lot of experience. The rest are freshman mentality when you think about when it comes to playing. But we have some bigs, and this is something that's huge. When you can have depth coming on off your bench, you have a team. A lot of teams can only go 6. You know, we can go 10, 12, 13. I mean, we could go 17. I mean, any day of the week. But you got Taisha Scott. I mean, that kid from Neville. I mean, she's a big kid. She holds her body well. She's really worked hard at developing her skill work. She has great post moves, up and unders, and drop steps. But you can't defend her. I mean, I was a post player that even now I could defend some people. I can't get the ball from her. I mean, so she's going to be a big presence in there. And with Alex Pollard, came out of Texas Sci-Fair, she's just now developing into a player that's going to be good. And I think by the time these kids become sophomores, oh, wow. And I'm saying it now, oh, wow. You're going to be saying this next year going, oh, wow, these kids have really developed.
Well, tomorrow your team has its final preseason tune-up when you travel down to Lake Charles to take on the McNeese State Cowgirls. Real quickly, what are the benefits from playing a Division I team?
Well, the benefits are we get to go down and we get to play against juniors and seniors. So our freshmen and sophomores actually will get to play that experienced basketball that if you were on the Division I level, you would be already doing it. I'm excited because it gives us someone different to play. It gives us an opportunity. We're actually going to play a real game and then turn around and do some skill work with them. And so I'm excited, to go down.
It'll be a special experience for your 5 sophomores because they will be facing one of their former teammates in Damilola Balogun. Dami, who is from Lagos, Nigeria, is an incredible young lady with an amazing story. I remember when I was a kid and I refused to eat Brussels sprouts or turnips, my mother would say, think about all the starving children in Africa and offer it up for them. They have nothing to eat. Well, after meeting Dami and knowing her, and that at one time she was one of those starving children in Africa, in your career, either as a player or as a coach, have you ever competed against a former teammate or a close friend, a mentor? And if so, how special was it for you?
It's the most special event. I mean, as a coach, playing against like Joy Lee McNellis or Vicky Carson, who trained me, who they were mentors for me, and then beating them is even better. You know, that's what's fun. But Dami is an outstanding young lady. I got to work her out this summer, and she just is very positive. And I mean, everybody talks highly of her, and you know what? It's true. But you know, McNeese is going to be fun. Casey Cryer is one of my mentees, and I help her out a lot. And, you know, McNeese is sweet to me because that is where my whole family has graduated. So, and I didn't go there. I was the rebel.
Well, Coach, we got about a minute left in the show, and you tip off the regular season on November 1st, which is next Thursday at Baton Rouge Community College. We tip it off for real. Then the home opener for the Lady Cavs is November 5th against LSU Alexandria's junior varsity. But before the season begins on Monday and then on Tuesday, there are a couple of special events I know you wanted to touch on.
We are so excited because we're bringing Cavalier basketball madness. Yes, on Monday, October the 29th from 5:30 to 6:30. It's free. Y'all come out, meet the players, get to see us. We're going to do dunk contests. I thought about dunking, but I'm not gonna embarrass the guys. And then on Tuesday, we're having the Boo Bash. The softball and baseball teams doing trunk or treat, and we're gonna do a haunted house for $1 inside. We're gonna have a concession stand. But guess what? It's Charlie's birthday this weekend, so we're gonna get to celebrate. He's gonna be 21, so he's gonna be legal for finally. And but come out for basketball, meet the players. It's going to be exciting. It's special. The teachers, a lot of the faculty are coming, so we want to send a shout out to the BPCC faculty.
Well, Coach, thanks for joining us today. That's all we have. Hope you've enjoyed our visit with BPCC women's basketball coach Brendan Nichols as much as I have. Join us again each and every Friday as we bring you the latest on Bossier Parish Community College Cavalier Athletics. I'm Charlie Cavell bidding you a good sports day.